Alright, Apocalypse Survivors. This is Mr. Unconcerned, and welcome to my 7 Days to Die Alpha 16 final tour, just a week or two before Alpha 17. I've got about 9 months into the game, about 700 hours, and this is my third game save. This base I call Sawtooth Base, and there's good reason for it down there when I started building it. That's how I got its name. I apologize for any stuttering in frame rate. This is an older gaming rig, 7 years old. It's a Radeon HD 6700 series, i5 processor, 8 gigs of RAM. You do a little tweaking, you can get her to run pretty good, and this base kind of chokes it up. I got up to day 84, and I turned zombies off after the last horde, because we're toward the end. There's a couple finishing touches I wanted to do, and I wanted to do a base tour because I love this one so much. I know there's guys that have been playing thousands of hours more than me, but I think I've done pretty good in my first base. Really quick tour before we get going. This base is my party base as well. There's nothing to be done for zombie fighting here. It's well defended, and we'll take a look at that. All my zombie fighting for Horde Night goes on way over that hill there where the marker is. Down here you've got the fighting deck. We are all decked out for zombies, and we'll take a look at that. This level here is my crafting and storage area, as well as where all my crops are. I have an indoor crop. Up here is all my apartment level. This is where I'll do my living. And then we got to the party deck. And this is pretty much where the base ended about a month ago. And that's all I planned on doing, but I said, oh, what the hell, since we're coming up on Alpha 17 and I had a ton of resources, I built what I call the sky decks. And the top row up there is a little observation deck. We're pretty low right now. I am at negative 15 elevation, so there's a lot of headroom above me. That thing's pretty high up there. We won't go up there though. That's my original base where I started. My original crops before I got building this. Outdoor lighting and everything else, everything you see here was done with the Horde on, so I didn't cheat. I've been just painting and doing some other little cleanup. There's a couple things I changed on here. I didn't like the way it was laid out. But everything else is done. I just didn't want to screw around with screamers, because this place is a screamer magnet with zombies on, and I wouldn't be able to get over the din of my own guns in here. So let's get started. And I don't think I mentioned it, but everything up to this floor here is all steel, so there's no problem there with that. And then after that, it's all just scrap iron upgraded and wood, because you really don't need anything except your vertical supports everything. You know, obviously you got to do your structural integrity and whatnot, but entrance to this base happens in one way only, by scooter, pretty much. If you want to get in, I suppose you can jump in. I've left enough, or I can jump in and out, but the zombies can't get in. But the idea is to come in with a scooter. You can park here and then come down with a lower ramp, or you drive it typically up to the crafting area, and then you ride it off this ramp here that we'll take a look at. So let's jump in. And Sawtooth Base is because I wanted a unique design in a base shape. I didn't want to go with just squares, so that's why I went with this diamond shape. And the only way I could get that to work with iron bars to actually technically fight a horde with the way people want to do them is to put blocks like this. I didn't like the blocks because they don't look right. So what I did, I'll turn the flashlight on. You can see I went with the full corners in an alternating pattern, and it really does look just like Sawtooth. And I like the visibility it gives me underneath here as well. So that's why I call it Sawtooth Base at the very beginning. Up here on the fighting deck as well, you've got 8 total weapons. I've got 4 shotgun turrets, 4 machine gun turrets, and a light at each. They all kind of take up a wedge of area that, you know, it's kind of alternating weapons, just because I like the sound of different weapons going off. Tons and tons of wood spikes. I love these things. In between there is a grid for the electric fence posts, and all those are spikes reinforced to steel sunk in. Like I said, you can have a zombie fight on Horde Night up here if you want, but I love my base. I don't want to keep working on it. And down here's the generator that powers everything. A little extra storage. I keep gasoline and extra ammo. And this is where you'd ride the scooter up. And we are up on my crafting level. I got my flashlight on. This one's painted up like the scooter area. With racing stripes, kind of like a garage. Got my gas pump here with tons of gas in it. Normally I keep one bike parked back there, and this is I'm lazy. I'll just pull the other bike up here, so this is where I have to unload. And I'll turn my lights on, make this easier to see. On this side, up on this deck, like I said, this is all my gardens you can see in here. On this side is all my forges, everything I keep in here. That is my fertilizer cement mixer. And over here I've got my 2 cement mixers, or sand pressures, whatever you want to use them for. And then this side of the base over here is where I've got all my crafting, my workbenches, my chemies, my food. I got tons of food. Love my food. And all the stuff I keep over here. That's pretty much it, except for the gardens. And let's take a look at what I got going on for the gardens in here and how I grow them all the way down. This is what we call the mushroom. And that's all I grow in here is mushrooms. If you don't want to hunt, have to bother chasing down deer, 5 mushroom is the alternate for 5 meat to make stew. Instead of meat stew, you're making vegetable stew. And that's what I do. I've got 25 spots here. I've got 15 here and 15 here. That gives me a total of 55 on my larger plots. And 55 times 4 is 200, and that's more than enough vegetable stew. And it's great. You don't have to go hunting down deer. It's all right there. And if you notice, the ceiling's filled in here because with mushrooms you don't need daylight. So this is the one growing area I'm able to cover up. And we'll take a look at the veggie rooms. And over here is the other full growing room, which is not behind my crafting and workstations. It's like the bigger side of the unused base. So that's why I have big crops in here. Same thing, 55 slots, 5 ears of corn, do the math. But the reason why you can grow indoors is you have a straight visible view up to the sky basically, and you can cheat and you can put wood frames in there so you're not falling through the holes in your own base. I think if you put windows in, it cuts down on the lighting because I have a little problem over here that's coming through from the sky decks, I believe. But same thing, I think it's either a 5x5 or 7x7 hole that allows you to grow crops. And right over here, my little dead spot, just like 6 or 7 spots, but that's because if you look up here, it's either, oh that's right, I got a garden there too, so I can't tell if that's from the upper base or my garden plot up on the party decks, but yeah, I'm kind of interfering with the rules. And over here I got taters, and this is the short side where I've got my crafting and building stations, so I've got only 30 slots here. But that still gives me plenty of food. I'll never run out of food. Same thing. I got all skylights here that allow me to grow crops. No biggie. And another 30 slots of potatoes there. So that's why I got so much food. And I love this. I absolutely planned none of this base out. I literally built this thing on a whim. So this is where all the work does. Or say the work happens. Let's take a walk upstairs. The next floor up, which is flashlight on again. This is, I just kind of named them one side or the other just to give me orientation before I got used to how it was laid out. So technically this would be the bedroom side and the kitchen side. And this is meant to be my private living quarters. With the doors locked, you either come down from the crafting area where you park your scooters and then you go directly up to the party deck, and this is meant to be my own private living area where you got no access. We'll go in from the kitchen side first, I suppose. So here we go into the living areas. This is the triangular sections off each side that I had to get creative with. This is a living room. We'll take a walk through there in a second. I got my closet in here off to the side, and this is underneath the stairs. This is where the generator is and my electrical relays. And storage. This is where I store everything that I use for design and building instead of construction. All my construction stuff was downstairs. Take a righty out of here, and this is the straight lines out from the center of the base. And each one of these is kind of just themed out as like a hanging area. This one's just kind of a sitting and chatting, almost like a waiting area, like you'd be at a restaurant, I suppose, with TV, and that's where the kitchen is. But let's say you're just waiting, and all of a sudden, you hear somebody coming. I got decks everywhere, and I love these things. Zombies come along, you're waiting for dinner, whatever. You can take care of a little business up here, have some fun while you're, chilling out with the friends. That's the thing about Sawtooth Base. I think it'd be great for a multiplayer base. I don't do multiplayer. So we'll take a walk into the kitchen. And you can see where the floor is here, where it goes down to my crops and follows back up to the ceiling to clear daylight. And I had to put something there. I fell through a couple times. I got sick of it. Even placing chairs here. So kitchen, all done up your typical 7 days to die. All your cabinets, oven, some of the stuff you got to buy from the trader. Fully functional. A little something to snack on in the fridge up here. There's where all the electrical lighting runs. I may do the cheat in 7 days to die 17 and do the junction block cheat. So we come out of the faceted side of the kitchen here, and this is another one of those general hanging out rooms, and this one's kind of like a quiet study. You got a desk, you got a couple bookshelves, and a bunch of leather chairs hanging around the coffee tables, probably just for reading and hanging out, unless, son of a bitch, you come out here, zombies. Somebody's coming to the base. Gotta fire a couple off. Show them who's boss. Come back in here. Go back to reading, whatever, War and Peace. And this is where it's blocked off. I mean, I left openings here so I can get quick access all around here for running around. More lighting. But technically this would be blocked off. This is my bedroom. I can go too ape crazy with it. Neat little painting theme, some beds. Want to watch TV before bed. Don't take a look at why the couch is a little offset. Whoops. Talk to the interior designer about that. I can't even shove it over because it's against the glass. I'll have to cut everything out and move it. And for the little home theater in here, I use just the sensor you would use for making the turrets mounted to a block, kind of make it look like a little home theater thingy. Home projector. You'll see it again soon. Nothing too fancy in here. Come out of the bedroom. This is another one of those long common areas. This one's kind of a hangy outy TV, cooler, bookcase, general purpose, lighting, so many candles. That's why this thing's a screamer magnet. Same deal. You come out here, any corner of the base you want, and just, oops, misfire. You can see even more decks above me. Come back through here, and this is what we came through on the other side. This is the one I have labeled just bedroom, which, really doesn't make sense now. It's just a gigantic circular apartment, but in here, off this common area, you got to walk all the way around to the bathrooms. And unfortunately for this one, I lost some creativity because I don't think you can buy the washer and dryer from the trader. So I wasn't sure what to do with the object. I don't cheat in the game, so it's just like, dueling bathrooms in case you want to play like battle shit or something. I didn't know what to do with it. I wanted to make a laundry room, but And I did a bath in here, threw a little water in here. It's kind of walk-in, glassed-in, bathy, fancy thing, and more of the same. There's looking down to my crops and up at the sky. Come out the other side of the bathroom, and we come into our fourth common area. This is the last common area. This one, I kind of went with a Cheers theme on this one. The stone walls and the warehouse lighting, and everybody knows your name. A fridge and some counter space, little couch, leather couch for hanging out, and back here was another closet that I'm using for lighting, where I'm routing the relays, just so they're not visible out here. I hate having even the wires visible. Oops, and I'm stepping on stuff. I like the little entrance, the little open gap ways. I wasn't sure what to do between rooms, so I kind of went with this partition with the glass, and I got the candles on top. Those are tabletop candles. And I don't know who mentioned to do this, but you don't have to run wiring to these coffee tables. You can actually place candles right in the center of them, and they glow just as good. I love that. I forget where I saw that from. And here we are back to the living room where we started. Hanging out room. Watching TV, staring out at the zombie apocalypse, waiting for somebody to shoot. And that's the apartment level. We'll come out of here. Like I said, this is all private, unless I want to invite the ladies down from the party deck, which we're going to look at now. And I've done this before. I like the party deck. I did it in a very small version, but I wanted to do something really nutso. So this is the party deck, and it is basically just photocopied on each side. You got it duplicated, which is fine. I don't mind. Got a little garden going on. I meant to grow this from height-wise, basically from shortest to tallest, but I think I screwed up. I got the chrysanthemums up front and the goldenrod out back. And I got blueberries, I got some coffee, I got hops, and this is supposed to be yucca, but I realized I don't have any yucca seed, and I got lazy, so imagine yucca here instead of corn. Whoops. So, bunch of chairs. I got all my chairs. Here's the clear view all the way down to my gardens. That's how you can have gardens all the way down. I could have them all the way down to base level, as long as I've got that straight view to the sky. So if you want to grow crops indoors, that's how you does it. Past my little garden, I put some little iron railings around the other perimeter. I loved how that looks. Potted plants everywhere, a million candles. I don't know how you say house of a million candles in Spanish, but I almost wanted to call this base that instead of Sawtooth, but I went with instincts. And same thing, anytime, you hear somebody out here causing trouble, come on out. That's what I love about the iron bars. You can shoot down through everything. And up here you've got a commanding view of wandering hordes, everything. I love this view. And there's a big city. I farmed. Little city. That's why I love this area. This is a great place to build for resources. I got these two cities between me for resources, which I really didn't use a lot of. This is where the base ended. It's just this glass ceiling here, but see where I got stupid and went for the sky decking, which I wound up liking a lot. Let's take a tour up here. We're not done with this yet. So hanging out in the chairs over here. Hanging out in the chairs over here. The plants, all those other goodies. And I don't know where I saw this from. I apologize. This is a cool little tiki type bar, grill. Two burning barrels with some wood plates painted up to look like stone. I got, the ramps there. Empty cabinet. Nothing fancy here. Beverage cooler. I haven't had a chance to walk around and fill all this stuff. I may do it. We'll see. But I love that little bar. And you gotta buy the bar stools from the trader. It's something you can't craft. So if you want to do stuff like this, always buy that weird stuff from the trader you'd normally never buy. And lots of little plants are the goodies, and basically duplicated here. Same bar, same everything else. One thing I will say I did borrow. I love watching JC's channel. He's very creative. I saw his home theater in his bedroom, and that's why I have one down in mine. I actually built my first one here. And you'd see I did one on this side. And instead of going as far as the skirting goes, I didn't put it on a wall, but I still wanted that theater look. So the trader sells this. You can't craft this either. Lower half of the curtains. And I put that on the bottom there as to accentuate that make it look like that real theater curtain look. If I ever do one on a wall, I'll have to buy more curtains. I did one, and I says, that doesn't look right with just one, because I didn't know what else to do, so we duplicated it. I got the dual theaters with the overhead projectors. Obviously, you can pair these things up. You can watch individual movies. You can do whatever you want with them. Love it. Thank you, JC. Very creative. And this was all glassed in as well, originally, and that's why I'm kind of glad that I expanded on this, because this came afterwards. This was like a more recent build after I built the sky decks, which we will go look at. I only have one entrance up. Up we go. And this, like I said, this was all glass before. It was not there. But since I figured while I was up here, I changed the center section of wood. I put some lighting up here. That one's funky because it's not powered. That one's still in place. But the idea was to put, accent lighting at night. I can light up the underside of parts of the base here. Just because. Because why not? The zombie apocalypse, you don't need to be on your party base. That's a generator for it here. It's the stairway all the way up to the party, or the sky decks. And I went with something different. I kind of went with this industrial stair. You can get two people up at a time. Lots of visibility. I went with bulletproof glass since I had so many resources. Everything else you've seen down for glass so far has been just cheap shower glass. And up we go. Everything's all painted up pretty. So one of the last things I did too was went around in and out of the base painting everything that I had forgotten and stuff I had screwed up. And it just sucks with screamers always coming at you, machine guns going off. It would have been just a nightmare trying to record this. So welcome to the sky decks. It's just a little chill area. Nothing fancy to it. I got some chairs. I brought up, in case you want to cook something. You know, you got to put stuff in the fridge. You got a cabinet you can store stuff in. You can cook. Come over here. Beautiful place to take a look, you know, off the horizon. Sit down, have a read. I may throw something else up here. I am not done. As long as Alpha 17's on the horizon still, I'll still fiddle around. A gorgeous view of the city. And why I call it the sky deck, because I want to do this big part glassed in with the bulletproof glass. And like I said, I had a ton of resources. And same thing, can't have a zombie base without a way to shoot zombies from any old area you need to. And that's gorgeous. And all the way up there, way up there, we won't even bother visiting that, is the observation deck, which I haven't even quite finished that either. And plus painting it's going to be a nightmare, so. I don't know if I forgot anything. I'm not going to think about it. I want to thank everybody for watching my first gaming video. I am a YouTuber, but I do not make gaming videos, so if it looks funny, it sounds funny. It's my first try at it. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm probably going to do another video for Alpha 17. If this one gets enough views, who knows. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys on the next one.